It all started with a very simple idea. Tell the stories of how successful middle market CEOs made it to the corner office. I'm Brant Handley, founder and managing director of Resource Options International, or ROI. We're the USA's premier executive search firm focused exclusively on empowering middle market companies to attract, hire, and retain A players while transforming top executives' careers and lives. ROI's Into the Corner office is dedicated to discovering how middle market CEOs advance their career, and we're making these remarkable and sometimes quite unbelievable stories available to you for the very first time. Listen and learn about the challenges they've overcome, the interesting people they've met along the way, and the lessons learned that steered these executives' unique journey into a middle market corner office of their own. I know you enjoy these CEO stories as much as I've enjoyed recording them. So thank you for listening today. And if you like what you've heard, rate us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm looking forward to you joining me on the next great middle market CEO adventure into the corner office. Today, my guest is Manos Kalaitzoglou, co-founder and CEO of Arcweave. Originally from Crete, Manos studied architecture in the National Technical University of Athens, then switched to becoming a web designer as he was always fascinated by design, technology, and storytelling. He worked with various startups in design, lead, and consultancy roles, which eventually led him to realize he and his teams were not efficient with the existing collaboration tools for interactive experiences. He and his brother Panos founded Arcweave to help lower the bar of game design and development and allow everyone to take their first steps in this fascinating industry. Manos Kalaitzoglou, welcome into the corner office.
Hi, Brant. Thank you for having me.
Great to hear your voice today. You're literally on the other side of the world in what I hope is sunny Athens. You didn't quite have the eclipse like we did yesterday. It was kind of an interesting time in the U.S. as a big swath of our country lost the sun for a few hours. But Greece is always sunny, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. And this right now the weather is like quite warm, and I'm a summer person, so I'm so happy that like we're slowly entering like the summer stage of the year.
Lovely time of year, and Greece gets pretty hot, I think, in the summer too. Do you get some time to escape the heat a little bit, get back to your native Crete from time to time?
Indeed, but Crete actually is even hotter than the rest of Greece.
That's right. It's closer to the equator, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there's no escape there.
Right. Well, listen, so great to have you on the show, and we always like to kick things off. And Crete is a good place to start because I know that's where you grow up. So tell us a little bit about your early years and what your early family life was like growing up in Crete.
Yeah, definitely. So I grew up in Chania. It's like a small town, I'd say, in the western part of Crete. I grew up with my parents and my brother, and I remember these years like very lovely because Crete is such a small place. It was great just walking every day to school, meeting my friends for some baseball games and going outside. And of course, the summer swimming at the sea.
Did you live right on the sea? Was it pretty close to the ocean where you grew up?
Not beside the sea, but it's still like Chania is like a 10-minute walk. Pretty much every
Nice.
every house there is a 10-minute walk from the sea. So it was easy to just decide to go for a swim midday, go there for like a couple of hours, then get back and resume life and work.
What professions did your parents have growing up?
So they're both teachers. Now they're retired, but my mother was a teacher of like ancient Greek language, and my father the teacher of French. So they both were from the very beginning very focused on me getting like good education for language, and always correcting me when I would do like mistakes, spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes.
Did you get exposed to French as well? Did Dad speak French to you, and did you study that as an extra language? Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
Like my father really wanted me to become like really good at French, but I probably failed him on that part because I managed to get like the first diploma, like the basic level, but then I could not really um, grasp French as well as he did.
What kind of things were you inspired by or influenced by them growing up by your mom and dad?
So I think like we were like of like a middle class family for the most part. So my parents were always about us spending time with us, and since they are both teachers, that gave them the opportunity to spend a lot of time with their children. So that I actually grew up spending a lot of time with them, and that made me kind of see and understand like the value of having a good relationship with your parents and have like a
Yeah.
tight family, and also felt supported like all the time during like my student years and even later on. I always felt that I could talk to them about what I wanted to do or what decisions I wanted to take. And even if they were not agreeing every time with me, they were always very supportive of what I would do.
Nice. Well, I imagine you were probably a pretty good student in school. Mom and dad wouldn't let you slack much in that area.
Exactly. Exactly. They would not allow me not to be.
Did you have a favorite subject when you were in grade school early on?
I always loved math and physics,
Hmm.
and of course IT, technology and computers. These were always like I always loved video games since a very early age, and was always fascinated by technology.
Yeah, yeah. How old were you when you first started playing with video games?
I think like around 11,
Yeah,
12,
pretty
something
early.
like that.
And we'll get to that in a minute. That's got a big impact, obviously, on how your
Yeah.
career was shaped over time. But we'll come back to that. What about outside of class? Any sports, music, theater, things you're involved with that were extracurricular?
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't say I was like a huge sports person. I always loved like doing a little bit of sports, and then like during my university years, learned a little bit of martial arts. But theater was always fascinating
Oh,
for me.
yeah.
And I actually like when like during university, I was in the theatrical team of like the National Technical University of Athens. I spent there 4 years playing in a couple of plays and also like directing one with a very close friend of mine. I think the time during like my theatrical kind of years, let's say, I think this time actually exposed me to storytelling and like
Hmm.
character development and aspects like this, which I was always interested in by movies and games, but I think I actually had the opportunity to dig deeper while in like taking courses, theatrical courses.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, storytelling is a very important part of world culture, but also Greek culture, right? So many of our ancient myths and legends come from the early Greeks. So how fascinating to be able to, kind of play that out in the 20th century. What about entrepreneurial activities? Growing up in the U.S., it's pretty typical for folks to, have their paper routes or work and so forth, but maybe not so much in Greece. Were you working at during times or any entrepreneurial things you did while still in grade school or high school?
I did not. It's a great point you make there, Brad, because actually, like in Greece, it's not easy to become an entrepreneur, and it's not
Yeah.
even part of our daily lives. It's like people in Greece are more laid back. They're looking to find like a safe place, a safe zone, make sure that they can provide for their families, and usually they're happy with that. I think this might also have to do with our history and our past with the
Right.
last 500 years. Um, but it's generally, at least for my home and like my family and like my circles back in the day, no one was really like doing a lot of entrepreneurial activities by themselves. It was
Yeah.
more like be good at school, do your homework, get well, have good relationships with your friends and your family, and then pretty much like your life will be good. That
Right.
was the
Right.
general mantra, I'd say.
Did you grow up in the public school system or private school or a combination of both?
I grew up in public school.
Public school, yeah, got it. Was it pretty clear you'd go to college? I imagine with mom and dad being teachers, that was probably part of the goal. Or was that a choice for you at the time that you were ready to, move on from high school?
Well, it was not entirely clear to me because
Hmm.
I was always kind of fascinated by design and art while growing up, but at the same time, I loved like math and physics and chemistry and all these and the tech part of school. So I was kind of conflicted whether I should follow like an art career or like an engineer career. And I remember like even when we had to submit the schools that we wanted to go, my list of schools was a mess. It was like there was no consistency in there. I probably did not even like know myself exactly what I wanted to study. So there was like many things there. One thing for sure that I remember, it was that I did not put like any schools in Crete because I definitely wanted to study away from Crete. I definitely
To
wanted
leave, yeah.
to visit Athens, to visit like the rest of Greece. I think I kind of felt that I wanted to see more places.
Yeah, yeah. And had you visited Athens before going to school there? Because you ended up going to NTU, right? The National Technical University of Athens. Did you get a chance to visit that university before you went, or just decided that was the place to go and made the move?
I had visited Athens just like once or twice,
Right, right.
just for a quick trip. So I did not know exactly um, what um, what was waiting for me there.
To expect, yeah, right.
But it's still just the fact that it was like the capital. It was a large city. There was like so much opportunity there. Kind of was enough reason for me to just try and be there during my university years.
Yeah. And you studied architecture. Now, how did you kind of make that choice? What were the decision making around that field of study?
Right. So apparently architecture was the best middle point to like combine engineering with art. So I kind of like looking around for my different choices and also like getting influenced by my parents and my friends and people that advised me as to what would like be a good choice for me in the future. I ended up deciding to go to like become an architect because it is a profession in Greece that has potential for you to become like a professional on your own, like open your own office and like do your own work, which is always something that I wanted. I wanted to have responsibility of my own work. And at the same time, it combines art and design because you get to like think about how to solve people's problems, like design space, design experiences, design buildings. So I kind of at the time felt that it's probably a good match for me since it combines different things that I love and like.
And it's a 5-year program, 6-year program. I know you did some overseas studies as well, but did you study a master's? Is that what you ended up with a degree?
Yes, it's a 5-year program. Most people
Yeah.
usually do it at 6 years. The last couple of years are very demanding with our diploma and like the final projects and so on. And I did spend 6 months in Budapest in
Hmm.
the architecture university there through a student exchange program. That was a great experience because I got to for the first time go outside Greece and actually live for a few months outside Greece. And it was a great experience because I saw for the first time I saw what's good about Greece, but also what's not so good about the country. Even if it's even if I went just inside Europe.
What was the first job you took out of college?
So it actually was working as an architect. I started working as an architect for a small architecture studio here in Athens. It was a really, really nice studio. There were four of us, four architects. We were doing actually traditional homes in Mykonos and designing like traditional spaces there. The team was really, really nice, and it already gave me this first job already gave me responsibility because our boss was like really about just giving us each in the team like lots of responsibility and like taking care of a different project each. And I remember I really liked that. I really felt valued in the team and also responded well to responsibilities, something that I always was fascinated with and always felt that I was not getting enough.
And then you made the transition after 3 or 4 years to both web design and then user experience architecture. How did that come about? Was it something you kind of had in the back of your mind, or was there a specific experience that came up that led you into software development outside of the architecture field?
Right. So even during my university years, I remember I was always dabbling with computers and software engineering and design. So I already had like downloaded like different programs and played around with Photoshop and Illustrator and like different languages, coding languages. So I was always fascinated by this field, and I remember I even had created a few websites for friends and family during like my university years, just like personal websites or websites that I would host, like some music to share with my friends and peers. And even while working as an architect, I would always find myself spending my hours outside of work to learn more about design, learn more about like software development. So it started as a hobby, but I slowly saw that I was looking more and more forward to leave the office and go back to my home and work on like software, or work on a
Yeah.
video game, or come up with a design, or even do like an illustration. So
Do you remember go ahead.
yeah. So it slowly started gaining like more interest from my side.
And then you made that transition to jobs actually, right, as well, where you're doing web design and user experience work. In fact, looking at your profile, I think you actually ended up becoming a head of a user experience group, and I think you had some time in Thailand as well. Tell me how that came about.
Right. Yeah. So So after a few years of working at this architecture office, the Great Recession came in Greece. It was like 2008, 2009 at the time. Like the whole engineering sector of Greece got hit hard. There was no buildings made or like new stuff happening because the economy actually took a great hit at the
Right.
time. And it was really hard to find a job as an architect. So I had to make a choice. Either I should leave Greece and start looking for jobs elsewhere, or I should like keep working on the architecture field, but not doing creative things, because at the time there was like not really any new projects being made. Or the third option was not apparent to me at the time, was to create a portfolio as a web designer and just try my luck there. And I actually did that. I got accepted to like a small startup at the time, and they made me like their one and only designer. And after a while, when more designers came, I was actually promoted to a design lead there. And I noticed at the time that I was really, really excited about the opportunities of designing software. And the reason for that was that there was like a lot of freedom in designing software for me. I was able to design things and not be restricted by the physical world. That architecture, when you design as an architect, you're restricted by gravity, you're
Right,
restricted by
right.
materials. But when you design for a software, you have like a lot of freedom as to how you want to do your stories and your experiences. And video games are great also, um, like a paradigm or example of the freedom that you can have as a software developer. And yeah, after a few years of working as a designer, I was actually hired to go to Thailand to work for an AI startup there.
Oh,
And it was a very interesting project. It was like an AI augmented reality social network, which kind of resembled Pokemon Go. And I was one of the initial members of the team there, so I had to build the whole design team at a different country with different with like people that were completely different from the people that I had been used to working with. And the company
right.
had people from all around the world, like from US, from Europe, from Asia. So it was a great experience to try and see how all these different people from different cultures can work together.
Was that the first time you started managing people, or had you done so previously in Greece?
I'd say that that was the first time,
Yeah.
actually, the first time that I had to like really work with the responsibilities of building like a team of 5 to 10 people.
Yeah, yeah, and working, of course, in English primarily with people from all different countries. I'm sure. What were some of the early leadership lessons you took away from that period of time?
So it was for me like one huge lesson that I took very early on was that I'm always like about clarity and communication and love just saying my thoughts to everyone and being completely transparent as to what I think and what I feel, and also expect that from the people that I work with. But different cultures have different interpretations of that. So, like for example, working with people from Japan or working with people from China or Korea, that was not exactly the case.
Right.
So you had to be more respectful of their feelings and of how to communicate to them your thoughts, and also be able to understand that different things sometimes mean different. Something that someone tells you might not be exactly what
Right.
they want to say to you. Might be
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
different. So that for me that was a huge lesson in understanding how to talk to people, and also understanding that not everyone is like I am, or like working
Right.
with the same mental model that I do.
Yeah. And how long did you stay in Thailand, and what brought you back to Greece?
So I stayed there for a year, working on that company. The company got sold around then, and I was at the time was also a bit tired from staying away from Greece and from like my everyday life there. So I was missing my friends, I was missing my family, and also I was missing like the weather of Greece. So I got back, and that was actually the time when I started thinking about building something on my own, so building like a software that would deal with the issues that I had identified
Mm.
while working there in Thailand, and also while um, creating different indie games by myself.
What were those issues that were kind of annoying you, or that was curious to you, that led to founding Arcweave?
Right. So I'd say the biggest issue was that while leading the design team in Thailand, and also while collaborating with different people in the gaming industry, it was always hard for me to describe the different interactive experiences that would happen either inside the software or the game that I was building. Like, for example, describe that if the player or the user does this, then this will happen. But if they have done like a different thing, then something else happens. And like I would use like any piece of software I could find to describe this, like Word documents, Excel sheets, like wikis, Trello boards, everything I could get my hand on. But it was not great because we would like had to maintain different software, had to still use software that was not meant to explain this particular process or this particular pipeline. And we still could not prototype it. Someone still had to read all this, understand what the team was trying to build, like add any questions, and we would have to imagine how this would work, and then they would have to approve it, or they would have to say, yeah, let's go for it, and then we would directly have to jump and build it.
Yeah.
And I felt I felt that this was very very wasteful, and it could also lead to like wrong decisions.
Great. And so Arcweave was founded almost 6 years ago, and you had a co-founder. So was that someone that you had worked with previously? How did you make that connection with your co-founder or co-founders?
Right. So my brother is my co-founder,
Nice.
And when I started working on Arcweave, it was just an idea on my head, right? That I would like it to work in a tool like this. And being a designer at that point, it was actually quite easy for me to like give a form to how I would imagine it to work. So it all started by designing it. And as I was designing it, I started like wanting to build it, to at least like be able to have a first version to show to people around me. And Panos, my brother, who is a software engineer at the time, he helped me with it. He would see what I want to build, and he would spend a little bit of his free time to work with me, to like help me when I did not know how to move forward with something. And as we were working together on it more and more, he got also excited with the project, the idea. We started getting people interested in it, and also like telling us that they wanted to see this happen. So they were supporting us in our dream and vision of Arcweave, and it just became like really, really natural that we would become co-founders in this.
That's great. And who are the customers you serve, and specifically, what's the need that you're meeting in the games marketplace?
Right. So for the most part, we're serving game studios that are either like indie game studios or larger game studios. We do have also customers that come from completely different industries, which we did not expect when we started Arcweave. So, for example, we have customers that come from HR. We have customers that are creating like escape rooms or museum installations, or startups that generally want to have gamification elements inside their software. So as we were working in Arcweave and we saw more and more people using it, we actually understood that we were solving a bigger problem than what we were thought initially. We were thinking that, okay, this is a problem that happens in games and startups that do like game-like experiences. But it ended up being a general issue of people wanting to create immersive experiences and not being able to directly jump inside a game engine or a development framework to develop this.
Yeah, cool. And your clients are global, Greece, US. Where are your clients based? Your customers?
They're generally global. I'd say that the biggest chunk comes from US, and then it will have to be UK and Germany, and then there's like everywhere.
And how many employees today do you have?
Today we're 10 people. Our team has 10 people.
And are they also global? Are you remote, or most of folks in Greece?
Like half, a little bit more than half the team is currently in Greece, but we also have people from UK, US, Italy, Croatia.
You mentioned earlier the importance of being open and honest and, clear and collaborative with the people you work with. How do you go about building a successful workplace culture at Arcweave?
I think like that a workplace or a company should reflect the founders. Founders should be very open as to what their personalities are, how they like to work, what they value, because that's what then should attract people that want to work with these ideas in mind, or want to work with these people. So me and Panos are generally very open about how we feel, how we think about our ideas, and we generally also believe that like best ideas come from the whole team.
Hmm.
We're definitely not feeling that we know everything. For the most part, we're just making mistakes most of the time. So we generally encourage our coworkers and people we work with to question every decision that we make, and also come up with their own ideas and
Hmm.
their own scenarios. And most of the time, they will have better ideas than we do.
Yeah. Yeah. How do problems get solved in your organization? And when do you get involved in that problem solving?
Right now, since the team is still, like, I'd say, small, we generally work all of us together. So when we want to create a new feature or when an issue arises, we communicate through Slack, and then like we would start a discussion there. The people that are more relevant to it, like the developers, if it's a coding issue, or the design part, if it's like a design issue, or if it's about our community or sales, relevant people will be more active. We will also try to chip in if we feel that we can add some value to it. But apart from that, I think it's just a matter of like doing a quick discussion there, and then the person that owns this part of the pipeline of the company will make an informed decision and move forward with the
Yeah.
solution.
Do you provide employee training at Arcweave, or do you look for folks that have a level of training that you need in the organization, and they're trained before they arrive, so to speak?
We do not provide like a training program right now. I would say that what we do is that we are generally very open and transparent about everything that happens to the company, like business wise and sales wise and partnership wise. Right now, we believe with Panos that for the team is great to have as as much visibility as possible to the current
Hmm.
state of the company, to what we want to achieve, because then they know what we want to do and what problems we have, so they can focus their own work and their own efforts on the fields that make more sense for the company. So I don't think there's a point in trying to hide like problems from like people that you work with. I think it's best for everyone to know what we are good at, our successes, our failures, and how we tackle each situation
Yeah.
together.
What do you look for when you're making bets on the people you invest in and hire at Arcweave?
So definitely like for them to be honest about their personality, their skills, what they want generally to achieve themselves, because it's very important for us and for them to be aligned in our goals. Um, and I'd say that that should start. We should start with that. Then something that we generally try to communicate in the company is for them to take initiative, not expect us to tell them what to do, because it's a startup. Startups can pivot, can change, can have different like problems happening every time, or completely change focus from one week to the next. So it's great if everyone feels empowered to make decisions on their own and also like suggest things on their own. Even if we don't have the time to like evaluate these decisions or like even discuss them with them, it's still better to be decisive, to do things than wait on it. So definitely honesty, transparency, and initiative are some of the values that we believe are important for us.
Do you have a favorite question or questions that you like to use in interviews where you get at that truth from candidates?
Yeah, what I usually like to ask people is what they like, is what do they like doing, what makes them tick. Because sometimes you will see that people will come for a particular role in like for your company because they feel that that's what they should apply for based on their previous experience or based on the open roles in the company. But for me, it's most important to work with great people that are doing things that they like to do, and try to figure out a way how to get them to do their best work, than putting them like in a position which might make sense initially, but in the long run will not be what they want to do. Of course, like everyone, we can change what we like to do. I might be an architect right now, and in 5 years I might want to be a designer. But still knowing what you like to do right now and what you want to get better at, I think that's very important to be able to answer that question and also feel that you can answer that honestly.
Yeah, good insight. Well, we're just about out of time, Manos. You've been very generous today, but we always have one last question we ask all our CEO and founders, and that's what career and life advice would you give to someone maybe that has their eyes on their own corner office someday, or perhaps want to be an entrepreneur like yourself? What would you tell them?
I'd say it's definitely a hard journey. And you cannot expect what's in there, like when you try to imagine what's like being an entrepreneur, because it opens a whole new world for you in terms of like networking, meeting new friends, learning how to deal with problems, and learning also how to value success and great achievements that the whole team does together. I would say that if someone feels in their heart that they need to try and do it, they should do it, and they shouldn't be worried whether they will succeed or fail. Just the whole journey is so valuable and so important for us all, and it really changes your perspective on life and also like on working with other people, that I definitely believe it's a valuable experience.
Good counsel. Arcweave is a collaborative narrative engine and game design tool empowering creators to conceptualize, scale, and prototype their interactive experiences. My guest today was Manos Kalaitzoglou. He is the founder and CEO of Arcweave. Manos, thank you so much for sharing your journey into the corner office.
Thank you so much for having me, Brand.
Thank you for listening to Into the Corner Office with Brant Hanley. We hope you enjoyed hearing our guest CEO story as much as we did. If you want to hear more CEOs reveal their journey into the corner office, please subscribe via iTunes and tell your friends and colleagues. For more information about Brant, Resource Options International, and the mighty middle market, visit www.goforroi.com. We look forward to having you join us for our next episode.